20 moments Deadpool made fun of Disney movies. Welcome back to our channel. Today we've got a truly wild one for you. We're going to explore how the merc with a mouth himself, Deadpool, hilariously shredded some of Disney's most beloved movies and characters. After Disney's acquisition of Fox, the snarky superhero officially became a part of the Disney family. But of course, Deadpool being Deadpool, he couldn't resist taking a few jabs at his new corporate overlords. From mocking Disney princesses to tearing into Pixar classics, these moments are equal parts savage and hysterical. So buckle up because we're counting down 20 times Deadpool took aim at the House of Mouse. Ready? Let's go! 1. Deadpool as a Disney princess. We're starting off strong with Deadpool's obsession with Disney princesses. In Deadpool 2, there's this hysterical throwaway line where he suggests that if things get too slow, he might as well start dressing like a Disney princess. But leave it to Ryan Reynolds to take that joke and run with it. Soon after, promo photos hit the internet showing Deadpool in full princess mode, draped in Snow White's dress, Ariel's seashell bra, and even Cinderella's ball gown. This isn't just a funny idea, it's Deadpool lampooning the entire Disney brand by putting himself in the most unlikely of scenarios, and of course, the internet absolutely lost it. It was a perfect parody of Disney's squeaky clean image, and the visual of Deadpool in a princess dress, absolutely priceless. 2. Frozen's Let It Go gets roasted. You knew this one was coming. How could Deadpool resist roasting one of the most overplayed songs in modern movie history? I'm talking about Frozen's Let It Go. The song is everywhere. In fact, Deadpool himself commented that he's heard it more times than he's killed bad guys. In one online skit, Deadpool breaks into his own version of the song while sarcastically discussing the endless nature of revenge, saying he'll never be able to let it go when he's got such a long hit list. It's classic Deadpool, taking something pure and twisting it into something dark and cynical. He even mentions that Elsa's powers might come in handy in his world if she could ice out a few enemies for him. It's the kind of brutal, irreverent humor we've come to love from Wade Wilson. 3. Mickey Mouse, the godfather of Disney. When Disney bought Fox, Deadpool didn't waste any time making Mickey Mouse the butt of his jokes. He referred to Mickey as the kingpin of the biggest family-friendly mafia in history. Can you imagine Mickey Mouse as a ruthless crime lord? Well, Deadpool sure can. He's joked that Mickey's family-friendly image hides a more sinister agenda, and in typical Deadpool fashion, he envisioned the mouse running Hollywood like Tony Soprano runs New Jersey. In one behind-the-scenes promo, he even went as far as suggesting that Mickey Mouse is secretly monitoring all Disney characters to make sure they stay in line. It's a pretty wild comparison, but it's classic Deadpool humor, turning something innocent into something twisted and darkly funny. 4. Belle and the Beast need therapy. Deadpool also didn't hold back when it came to Disney's beloved fairy tales. In one of his viral interviews, he took aim at Beauty and the Beast. His comment? Belle's probably going to need therapy after dating a literal beast. I mean, Stockholm Syndrome is real, people. It's one of those moments where Deadpool crosses the line just enough to make you laugh but also think, wait, does he have a point? The way he breaks down the story's absurdity is pure Deadpool. He's the type to see a fairy tale and immediately spot its darkest and most disturbing undertones. It's why he's so effective at flipping the script on stories we've all grown up with. 5. Deadpool sings Disney songs. Who would have thought that Deadpool has a soft spot for Disney's feel-good soundtracks? Believe it or not, he's been caught jamming to everything from A Whole New World to Circle of Life. But in true Deadpool fashion, he can't resist throwing in some snark. In one video, he mocks the Lion King by belting out Circle of Life while fighting off bad guys, turning an inspirational anthem into a chaotic battle theme. In another skit, he casually mentions that A Whole New World sounds like a good time until you remember that Deadpool's version of the Whole New World probably involves more explosions and violence than flying carpets and romance. It's the perfect blend of Deadpool's love for chaos and his odd appreciation for Disney's classic tunes. 6. Disney's Fox purchase and Deadpool's fourth wall break. Deadpool's most famous trait is his ability to break the fourth wall, and when Disney purchased Fox, he took full advantage of it. In his promotional content after the deal went through, Deadpool made several jabs at the situation. One of his best lines, "Well, looks like I'm officially working for Mickey now. I wonder when they're going to start censoring me." It's a brilliant meta-commentary on the odd relationship between Disney's family-friendly image and Deadpool's R-rated world. He also joked about having to tone things down to meet Disney standards, but anyone who knows Deadpool knows that's just not going to happen. This was a clever nod to the audience, acknowledging the elephant in the room. How will Disney handle Deadpool's R-rated antics? 7. Mufasa's death gets the Deadpool treatment. The Lion King has one of the most heartbreaking moments in Disney history, the death of Mufasa. But of course, Deadpool doesn't do heartbreaking. In one interview, Deadpool commented on this scene, saying Simba overreacted and that if he had been in that situation, he would have taken Scar out on the spot with one of his katanas. It's a perfect example of Deadpool turning an emotional, dramatic moment into a darkly humorous one. Mufasa's death is a pivotal moment in Simba's journey, but in Deadpool's world, it's just another missed opportunity to dish out some revenge. 8. Elsa's Frozen 2 trailer mockery. When the Frozen 2 trailer dropped, Deadpool couldn't resist making fun of its overly serious tone. He posted a reaction video where he compares Elsa to Batman, joking that she's taking things way too seriously for a movie about a girl who sings to ice. "Why so serious, Elsa?" he says. "I thought this was a kids' movie, not a gritty reboot of The Dark Knight." It's this kind of meta-humor that makes Deadpool such a brilliant character. He's always aware of how ridiculous things can be, and he's not afraid to call it out, even if it's at the expense of one of Disney's biggest franchises. 9. Ariel's questionable life choices in The Little Mermaid. Deadpool doesn't just target the new Disney movies, he also has a bone to pick with some of the classics. Take The Little Mermaid, for example. In one of his hilarious commentaries, Deadpool points out that Ariel might not have made the best life choices. "You really gave up being a mermaid for legs and a dude? Girl, rethink your priorities," he quips. It's a brutally honest assessment of Ariel's storyline, and it highlights how Deadpool is always ready to poke holes in even the most cherished childhood tales. Leave it to Deadpool to make us question our favorite Disney heroines' decisions. 10. Deadpool's take on Toy Story's friendship. "You've got a friend in me? Or do you?" Deadpool has some choice words for Toy Story's iconic duo, Woody and Buzz Lightyear. In one of his off-the-cuff comments, Deadpool couldn't resist making fun of the franchise's wholesome message about friendship. He jokes that in his world, friendship often comes with a price, and that price is usually a bullet. "Buzz Lightyear might fly to infinity and beyond, but I bet he's never had to bury his best friend after a cartel shootout," Deadpool quips, turning a heartwarming friendship into a dark and violent affair. For Deadpool, trust and friendship are complicated topics, and he loves to undermine the sweetness of Toy Story's central theme with his signature cynicism. 11. Pocahontas gets the Deadpool history lesson. Deadpool isn't just here to make fun of songs and princesses, he's got a bone to pick with Disney's version of history too. In Pocahontas, the historical inaccuracies are too glaring for Deadpool to ignore. In a meta-commentary, Deadpool points out that Disney's version of the story is about as accurate as a history lesson from a cartoon raccoon. He adds that if he were there in the 1600s, things might have turned out a little differently. "Let's just say John Smith wouldn't have made it past the first act," Deadpool jokes. His take is both dark and hilarious, calling out Disney for glossing over the more brutal aspects of history while spinning it into a tale of love and harmony. It's classic Deadpool, sarcastic, edgy, and not afraid to ruffle a few feathers. 12. Sleeping Beauty, or Deadpool's perfect nap. For someone as chaotic as Deadpool, the idea of falling asleep for 100 years sounds like a dream, or maybe a nightmare. In one of his hilarious quips, Deadpool mocks Sleeping Beauty, calling it the ultimate lazy girl's fantasy. He remarks, "If I could nap for 100 years and wake up to a sword fight and a dragon, I'd sign up too." But then he quickly adds that in his world, a 100-year nap would probably mean waking up to a dystopian future filled with zombies and more chimichangas than he could ever eat. It's these kinds of offbeat, unexpected takes that make Deadpool's commentary so enjoyable. He always finds a way to twist a simple fairy tale into something bizarre and slightly disturbing. 13. Deadpool and the Aladdin Genie. Who could forget the Genie from Aladdin? He's one of the most beloved Disney characters of all time. But Deadpool? Well, he's not impressed. In one of his commentaries, Deadpool suggests that if he had 3 wishes, he'd probably wish for more ammo, a bigger sword, and a truckload of explosives. Forget world peace or love, Deadpool's priorities are all about carnage. He also jokes that if the Genie ever showed up in his world, he'd probably be drafted into the X-Force within minutes. He's got too much power to waste it on song and dance numbers, Deadpool says. It's classic Deadpool turning something magical into something violent, while also poking fun at the light-hearted nature of Disney's animated classics. 14. The Deadpool vs. Disney Princesses Showdown. Let's talk about a showdown we never knew we needed. Deadpool vs. the Disney Princesses. In one of his most hilarious moments, Deadpool imagines a battle royale where he takes on the princesses one by one. Mulan might be tough, but let's see her handle a katana with regeneration powers, he says. Then he makes fun of Cinderella's glass slippers, suggesting they'd shatter before she even got a punch in. But his biggest target, Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Deadpool jokes that her fishtail wouldn't stand a chance in a fistfight, adding that he'd probably bake her into sushi before the battle was over. It's absurd, ridiculous, and exactly what you'd expect from Deadpool. He turns every princess into a potential opponent, and it's clear he's enjoying every second of it. 15. The Lion King meets Deadpool's Dark World. You might think that The Lion King's epic story of loss and redemption would be off-limits for Deadpool's humor, but you'd be wrong. Deadpool doesn't hesitate to mock the film's most emotional scenes, especially the iconic moment when Simba witnesses Mufasa's death. Deadpool casually remarks, "If this happened in my world, there wouldn't be time to mourn. We'd be setting traps and going after Scar's entire pride." He even imagines turning Timon and Pumbaa into deadly sidekicks, saying they'd make great mercenaries if given the right training. It's a twisted take on one of Disney's most beloved films, and it just goes to show that no scene is too sacred for Deadpool to parody. 16. You've got a friend in me? Maybe not. Back to Toy Story, and this time Deadpool takes aim at the famous song "You've Got a Friend in Me." Deadpool sarcastically comments that, in his world, friends don't last long. He then jokes that Woody and Buzz's friendship would be short-lived if they ever found themselves in the middle of one of his chaotic missions. "Let's see how that cowboy hat holds up in a gunfight," he says. For Deadpool, the idea of a pure, unbreakable friendship is more of a fantasy than anything. His humor here is dark but relatable, especially for anyone who's ever felt a little cynical about the idea of lifelong, perfect friendships. 17. Deadpool roasts Wall-E. Then there's Wall-E, Disney's sweet cautionary tale about environmental destruction. But Deadpool? He's not exactly in the mood for a lecture. He jokes that Wall-E is like watching an extended recycling PSA, but with robots. He even suggests that if he were in that post-apocalyptic world, he wouldn't waste time cleaning up. He'd probably just blow everything up and start over. "Sometimes you gotta destroy to create, right?" Deadpool says, turning Wall-E's hopeful message about saving the planet into a darkly comic commentary on destruction. It's peak Deadpool, taking something with a deep message and completely flipping it into something ridiculous and violent. 18. Deadpool's Snow White makeover. And next up, we've got Snow White, the OG Disney princess. But Deadpool doesn't have time for her sweet songs and woodland friends. In one of his funniest moments, he comments that if Snow White had to survive in his world, those birds would be armed, and she'd be carrying a sword instead of talking to deer. He goes on to imagine Snow White leading a guerrilla army of forest animals, turning her peaceful kingdom into a war zone. It's the kind of absurd, over-the-top humor that only Deadpool could pull off, turning a wholesome Disney classic into a military fantasy full of explosions and mayhem. 19. Deadpool's take on the Disney remakes. Now let's talk about Disney's live-action remakes. Deadpool, of course, has some strong opinions. He jokes that the remakes are basically Disney's way of double-dipping on the same nostalgia well, and then sarcastically adds, "Hey, if it worked once, why not milk it until the cow runs dry?" In his brutally honest style, Deadpool critiques the idea of recreating the same stories with CGI and big-name actors, but with none of the originality of the animated classics. He even jokes that one day they'll probably remake Deadpool in a more family-friendly version, something he promises he'll never let happen. 20. Deadpool's final verdict on Disney. After tearing through 20 Disney moments, it's clear that Deadpool has no intention of showing any mercy. His irreverent takes on everything from princesses to superheroes show that no one is safe from his jokes. But what's most fascinating is how he manages to balance his sharp wit with genuine moments of insight. Beneath all the humor, Deadpool's jabs at Disney reveal a deeper commentary on the way we consume media, poking fun at the repetitive nature of remakes, the overly sanitized world of fairy tales, and even the heavy themes hidden beneath the surface of Disney's family-friendly facade. In the end, Deadpool's commentary is more than just jokes. It's a reminder that every story, even the most beloved, has room for a little chaos. From the dark reimaginings of princess stories to his jabs at Disney's corporate machine, Deadpool never pulls his punches. These moments capture everything we love about his character: his unpredictability, his brutal honesty, and his ability to make us laugh at even the most innocent of things. But what do you think? Which moment had you laughing the hardest? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite characters and pop culture moments. Thank you for watching. Gentlemen. Coming in at number 18 is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This film, based on the comic book series, featured a unique concept with a team of literary characters. Despite a star-studded cast including Sean Connery, the film faced production troubles and a lackluster script. The film grossed $179 million against a $78 million budget, but it failed to generate the franchise potential studios had hoped for. The planned sequels were never developed, and the film remains a missed opportunity in the superhero genre. 17. The Dark Tower. Number 17 is The Dark Tower, based on Stephen King's iconic book series. With Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey in lead roles, the film was intended to be the cornerstone of a multi-platform franchise, including movies and a TV series. However, the film was criticized for its rushed narrative and failure to capture the depth of King's world. It grossed around $113 million against a $60 million budget, but its lack of success meant that the expansive franchise plans were abandoned. 16. Assassin's Creed. At number 16, we have Assassin's Creed, an adaptation of the popular video game series. Starring Michael Fassbender, the film aimed to bridge the gap between video games and cinema. Despite impressive visual effects and a dedicated fan base, the film struggled with a convoluted plot and pacing issues. It grossed about $240 million worldwide against a $125 million budget, but failed to generate the excitement needed for a successful franchise. 15. Jem and the Holograms. Number 15 is Jem and the Holograms, a live-action adaptation of the 80s animated series. With a budget of around $5 million, the film was intended to appeal to both nostalgic fans and a new generation. Unfortunately, it failed to capture the magic of the original series and was a commercial disappointment, grossing just $2.3 million. The franchise potential was quickly abandoned, leaving fans of the series disheartened. 14. Battle Los Angeles. At number 14, we have Battle Los Angeles. Marketed as a high-intensity alien invasion film, it aimed to launch a franchise with its gripping action and military realism. However, the film's reception was mixed, with criticisms focusing on its formulaic plot and lack of character development. It grossed around $201 million against a $70 million budget, but failed to generate the sequel buzz anticipated. 13. The Spiderwick Chronicles. Number 13 is The Spiderwick Chronicles. Based on the popular book series, this fantasy film had franchise potential with its magical world and engaging story. The film was well received but did not achieve the box office success needed to propel it into a full-fledged franchise. Despite its promising start, the planned sequels were never produced, leaving the story unfinished. 12. The Adventures of Tintin. At number 12, we have The Adventures of Tintin, directed by Steven Spielberg and produced by Peter Jackson. This animated film was intended to be the start of a series. With its charming adaptation of the classic comic strip, despite strong critical praise and a successful box office performance, the sequel never materialized, leaving fans wondering what could have been. 11. Dredd. Number 11 is Dredd. This film aimed to reboot the Judge Dredd character with Karl Urban in the lead role. It received positive reviews for its gritty style and faithful adaptation of the comic, but it failed to draw in a large audience. Grossing around $41 million against a $45 million budget, the film's performance led to the abandonment of any planned sequels. 10. Max Payne. At number 10, we have Max Payne. Adapted from the popular video game series, this film starred Mark Wahlberg and had high expectations. However, its disjointed plot and lackluster execution led to disappointing reviews and box office returns. Despite a strong fan base for the game, the film's failure meant no sequels were produced. 9. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Number 9 is The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Disney's attempt to create a magical franchise with Nicolas Cage and Jay Baruchel fell short. Despite a strong cast and engaging special effects, the film was criticized for its uneven script and lackluster story. It grossed about $215 million worldwide against a $150 million budget, but failed to generate the sequel interest Disney had hoped for. 8. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. At number 8, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, was a much-anticipated adaptation of Rick Riordan's book series. Despite its potential, the film's departure from the beloved source material and its mixed reviews led to disappointing box office results. Although the film performed reasonably well, it was not enough to secure the planned sequels, leaving fans of the series unsatisfied. 7. The Blackcoat's Daughter. Number 7 is The Blackcoat's Daughter. Originally titled February, this horror film was intended to be the beginning of a franchise with its chilling atmosphere and eerie storyline. However, it struggled with a slow pacing and lack of audience engagement. Despite its intriguing premise, the film's performance failed to secure further installments. 6. The Incredible Hulk, 2008. Coming in at number 6, The Incredible Hulk, 2008, was a reboot meant to rejuvenate the Hulk character within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. While it had a solid cast and some impressive action sequences, it struggled with continuity and failed to build the franchise momentum expected. The film's mixed reception and box office performance meant that the Hulk's cinematic journey would be recalibrated in later films. 5. The Three Musketeers, 2011. At number 5 is The Three Musketeers, 2011. With its lavish production and modernized action scenes, the film aimed to revive the classic tale. Despite its high production values and an ensemble cast, including Orlando Bloom and Mila Jovovich, it failed to capture the charm of Alexandre Dumas's original story. The film's poor box office performance led to the abandonment of plans for sequels. 4. The Chronicles of Narnia. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Number 4 is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. The third installment in the Narnia series aimed to continue the franchise's success but faced difficulties. The film received mixed reviews and struggled with box office numbers, grossing around $415 million worldwide against a $155 million budget. Although it performed reasonably well, it wasn't enough to ensure the continuation of the franchise. 3. The Mummy 2017. At number 3 is The Mummy 2017, which was supposed to launch Universal's ambitious dark universe with Tom Cruise at the helm. Despite its high profile and big-budget production, the film was met with mixed reviews and a disappointing box office performance, grossing around $409 million worldwide against a $125 million budget. The failure led to the collapse of the dark universe, leaving its planned films in development limbo. 2. Jem and the Holograms. Number 2 is Jem and the Holograms, a live-action adaptation of the 80s animated series. Despite a dedicated fan base and a nostalgic premise, the film struggled to find its audience. With a budget of around $5 million and a box office gross of only $2.3 million, it failed to capture the charm of the original series. The franchise's potential was quickly dashed as the film became a commercial flop. 1. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And finally, at number 1, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This film, based on the comic book series, was intended to be a groundbreaking superhero team-up movie. Despite a star-studded cast and an intriguing concept, it faced numerous production challenges and critical backlash. The film grossed around $179 million against a $78 million budget, but was deemed a failure in terms of franchise potential. The collapse of planned sequels left fans of the comic series disappointed. There you have it, our comprehensive look at the top 25 biggest failed movie franchises of all time. These films had grand ambitions but fell short of their goals. They serve as reminders of the complexities and challenges of building a successful franchise. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. Don't forget to click the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload new content. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.